We love a deconstructed egg roll dinner, and it's an easy stir fry that's made with ground pork. Now, I get my ground pork from the farmer's market, but you can use any ground pork from the supermarket if you prefer, if you're on a budget, however you want to do that. But it does require these ingredients: some brown sugar, some soy sauce, some Chinese 5-spice, a little olive oil. I'm going to finish it off today with some sesame oil, which I think just kicks it up a little bit. Now, it's onions, ginger, green onion or scallion, depending on where you live, what you call it, cabbage, and zucchini. That's how we make ours. And I like to use my little zoodle maker because I think it cooks up nicely and just makes the carrot and the zucchini come out great. Now, I normally put fresh garlic. I'm out, so I'm substituting garlic powder. That's absolutely fine. You do what you gotta do, right? It's Meal Prep Sunday, so we're making this so that you can have this moving forward. But again, I would normally use some regular garlic. All right, we'll be back in just a few to show you how this looks once we get it into the pan to stir fry it up. First thing I do is I'm going to go ahead and get my onions into the pan. We want to make sure that we don't cook them too fast because a lot of the flavor is going to come from these onions. We'll be turning it up once we put some of the other vegetables in, but I like to get these onions in and kind of let them sweat a little bit first. All right, these onions are in the pan and sweating out. Next, what I want to do is add in my ginger, which is another aromatic. And that's why I like to get this in early because I think it adds to layered flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and, that was ginger, by the way, that I grew in my garden. If anybody cares, it's so easy to grow. I'm going to put some in pots for over the winter because I live in a zone that will get frost in the winter time. But anyway, get your onion and your garlic in, if you were using garlic, and your ginger right now. Now remember, I'm out of garlic today, so I'm using garlic powder. I don't need to add that as early. But if it was fresh garlic, I would go ahead and put that in as well with the ginger and the onion. Next step in the process is to zoodle your carrots. So I like to get the carrots zoodled early because I'm going to put those in next and right before I add this meat. So go ahead and zoodle the carrots, not the zucchini, that doesn't take long, just the carrot. All right, I'm using again this little handy dandy zoodle maker. You can use whatever tool you have. All right, we're ready to add those carrots in. And depending on how much pork or how much of this I'm making, I may or may not use the whole carrot. In this case, I used about a half a carrot. And it's fine because the rest I will cut up for the dog. He likes to have that in his food. All right, and we're going to turn this up just a little bit because we know that we've got our onions are looking translucent, right? So they're not totally caramelized, but they're translucent enough that we can now turn up the heat. We've released some of the aromatics. It smells amazing with the ginger and the onions. And now we want to get that carrot cooking just a little bit, and then once we get that carrot cooking up, then we'll go ahead and we'll drop the pork in. Just now, while everything else is cooking up before we put the pork in, I like to slice my cabbage, and I like to slice it this way, the long way. I don't know why. To me, it makes a difference. So when it comes into the pan, it's going to come in these nice long pieces and shreds. And the same with the zoodles. I got those ready to go, so these will go in at the same time. And last but not least, we will cut this up and we will use this as a finish on the top. We don't need to cook that up. But we'll show you all that in just a minute. Meanwhile, let's go check and see how things are going in our pan. Everything's looking great in this pan. These carrots are telling me that it's time to go ahead and put the pork in. And how I know this is when I move them, see how they start to look like they're curling a little bit, like they go in circular motion. They wouldn't have done that when they were hard and straight. So let's go ahead and just push all these vegetables over to the side. And this is really important because you don't want to burn your garlic, right? I don't have garlic today, but I don't want to burn anything. But especially if you have garlic, because if you burn garlic, then it kind of ruins your dish. And then I take the pork and I pop the pork right in the middle. break it apart so that it's going to cook up nice and fast. There we go. All right, and we're going to actually turn up our heat to show you about where I'm at. I'm here now. I'm going to go up just a tad higher, and then we're going to go ahead and add in the next part, which is the cabbage and the zucchini. You can see our pork is starting to cook nicely here, and you want to cook it down until there's no more pink showing. I like to get a little caramelization on it if I can, but sometimes you just can't. You don't have enough time. The heat's not right. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be covered up in some nice egg roll sauce in just a minute, but we want to make sure it is cooked thoroughly. That's the most important part when making the pork inside this dish. Now, I like to break it up and crumble it up. I think it just adds more flavor throughout. That way you get a nice ratio. And so I just hit it with a nice little wooden spoon. A little wooden spatula here today. And then once I know my pork is pretty much browned, I can then start to mix in my other ingredients. At this point, I feel confident adding in a little bit of my spices. So I think I'm going to start with my my garlic powder, because remember, I didn't have garlic in the dish. So I'm going to add in a little onion powder. I also, and I may or may not have mentioned it, I like to put in a little bit of this, what's called 5-spice, because this is a beautiful aromatic. And so I'm going to add a little bit of that next, just to make sure I'm getting those good Asian flavors. And I'll stir that all in. And what I like to do is season that pork directly, right? And saw that all went on the pork. That's going to stick to that. And that actually sometimes helps it brown just a little bit for you. It'll just give a little bit of a crispy tang to that pork. All right, now we're ready for our cabbage and our zucchini. So I will put in cabbage now, and I will put in cabbage again in a few minutes, right? So we're going to put the cabbage and the zucchini in. The reason I do this in 2 stages is I like when the cabbage has a little bit of crunch to it, and the zucchini noodles can sometimes get soggy, so we don't want to put them in for too long. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. And here you have it. Here is your deconstructed stir-fry egg roll. Oh my God, is that not just wonderful? If you could smell this, you'd be like, oh, I could eat that every single day. It is delicious. Thanks for watching.